Actually almost called it the Game Awards, but it's not. We're in summer. Game Awards is at the end of the year. Hello, hello. How's everybody doing? How is everybody doing on this Friday evening, afternoon, or maybe even noon for some of you? Because I think we're about 40 minutes away from the Summer Game Fest, you guys. Oh, thank you for the cat hugs. Thank you for the Musti hugs. I appreciate it. May he rest in peace. Thank you so much, Talis. Enjoying some Bond action. We're recovering. We're doing better. It's been tough on us, you guys. You already know from the server, right? It's been a lot to process, and we're giving all our love and attention to Zuko, our youngest cat, so that he doesn't feel alone. And when the time is right, you know, when he stops looking into the hallway, when he thinks he hears something, or I accidentally kick one of the boxes with their toys and he thinks somebody's there, you know what I mean? It's rough seeing it on him as well. You can tell he's sleeping more. He's always on the lookout for something coming down the hallway, but it's not there. Yeah. We'll be seeing Musti again on Tuesday. We're gonna go visit him before we you know, let him get cremated so we can, you know, keep his remains and still hug him if we want to. Yeah. So in the end, you know, we realized that he had a lot of pain, and he already like stayed so strong to be with us. He pretty much started showing signs of HCM, which is like a heart disease. It's a heart failure disease, pretty much, on cats, and some cats are more prone to it than others. I don't know why this keeps pausing. Why does this game keep pausing me, bro? Oh, there we go. But yeah, so the illness that Musti had is one that kind of like involves the heart, and it's not just one thing with the heart, but it's the heart getting irregular. It's growing too much, so it had so much love to give that its heart grew out of proportion, and it caused them a lot of pain from time to time. Not always, because we noticed that like in the last couple of months he had quite a lot of fun times, and he was playing, and you know, he enjoyed our company. And in the meantime, from every start of the month to the next month, he would be fine, but at the end of the month he would start showing signs again of like labored breathing, you know, like really really rapid breathing. And that showed us that he was in pain. But then when we went to the vet, you know, I was able to get like some medication to actually fight it, and it would be over in about 2 days. And you know, the first signs that we had last year, like I was saying, when it happened last year around January, we went to our original vet, but the veterinarian said like, oh, I don't have the devices to do the scanning, you should go over there, which was like super far away from where we are. They should have the medical devices to do the scans, and we're like, but we can't do that. And so we went to look for like a second opinion, and this doctor said like, you know, it's probably the heart disease. And you know, he did some tests while he was actually like experiencing an episode, and he said like, okay, it's not his brain, clearly, because he's responding to like exterior interaction. So that made it clear to the doctor that it was like a blood pressure situation due to his heart actually having a severe condition, you know. And with all of that happening, we just realized we're going to have to give him blood pressure medication to help him. And when we did, it actually started working. He was like good for another 4 months. And then it happened again. and he was like, why we say it was blood pressure? It's because the blood pressure caused him to like lose his balance. His hind legs would like lose balance. He would have to sit down all the time or lie down, um, to regulate his blood pressure, right? To not push it too much. And just like that, it was, yeah, it was exactly that actually. Um, where he needed to rest a lot more, and then when you gave it like a weekend, usually it went better after that. But at the start of this year, it just became way worse, guys. He couldn't like, he had more trouble breathing all of a sudden, and it was at the end of last year that he had a first episode where he was just staring in front of him, lying down on his side, and not being able to breathe. And we were very, very worried, of course. And then when we went to see the vet, he said, "Yeah, there's a lot of noise on his heart rate." So his heart clearly started, malforming in a way where he, how do I say this? His heart wasn't going to be able to hold on much longer. That's what it came down to. We started to realize this more as the months progressed, but nothing prepares you for that last month, you guys. Hey, welcome in, Yash. But yeah, losing your cat is really hard on you. Let me tell you, any pet really. I shouldn't just say cat, but if it's something that gradually like gets worse and you see it happening in your pet, and I like totally understand that if your cat or your pet is degrading in a way and you can like tell that he's in pain, it's different, right? Because for Musti, since it was a situation where he didn't just progressively get worse, he just had episodes, you know. Yash, I haven't been on in a while. We lost our cat, dude. We lost our eldest cat, Musti, to HCM, which is like a cat heart disease. It's too complicated of a name to explain it, but yeah, we lost him to that disease over time. First signs were last year. I was just going over it. Thanks, man. Thank you. Um, so yeah, when the signs actually just started manifesting more and more, because the gap in time where we saw the manifestations of like the side effects of having that disease show up shorter and shorter and shorter to each other, it became clear that at the end of last year, the first episode where he couldn't breathe anymore because his heart became so big that his lungs were squeezed tight, and he was pretty much operating on like 15% lung capacity at all times. And he was such a strong boy, dude. He was such a strong boy to like stay playful even with like 15% lung capacity, knowing that his lungs might have an issue or like any kind of um infection at that point causes him to just be knocked out at that point, right? And from January until now, it's just been, oh yeah, he's doing so well, and then at the end of the month he would just collapse again. And like, this is, we would see the first signs as a wiggle, but the thing is, he stopped moving around. Yeah, dude, it's nothing can prepare you for it like that. Like I was saying, there's nothing that can prepare you for it, because even though we saw it happening and he would start wobbling again with his hind legs and he couldn't keep his balance, near the end he just didn't even want to walk around anymore. When it came up, he would just hide in his cave and just sit down or lie down. Yes. And it was every end of the month he would have an episode, but sometimes it would hit him in the weekend, and then he would, sustain that low breathing, labored breathing, and very small capacity of lung breathing to over the weekend, because we can't go to a vet in the weekend because nobody works in the weekend here. Um, and then when we went to the vet, his adrenaline would kick in, and there would be no signs of him being ill. I swear to God, this was February, March. But in March it was kind of worse because when it hit him end of February, March, it kind of like stayed, and we went to the doctors and he got a syringe this time, not just like, oh yeah, try and ease through it. He got some syringes this time, so we had 2 bouts of giving him syringes, and this was an antibiotic and a cortisone injection, right? And that seemed to help. He would have another day or two of like fighting it, and then he would pull through. He would get hungry again, and he would drink, and everything would be fine. But as the months progressed again from March to April, we would see him playing again. So that was great, even though he gave us a scare. We would see him playing again, and you would see him like immediately stop because breathing, he needs to like slow down. You know, he has that like, by this time, maybe it was already 10% lung capacity. So even then it was really hard on him. But he was still playful and he was showing us so much love. He wasn't like, you know, a cat really doesn't show when he's ill. You know what I mean? A cat is such a strong character to not show any pain. Hello, Blood. Welcome in. But yeah, the last 2 months that he was with us, it was different. Because the last 2 months we noticed that, you know, he would have trouble eating. Does that make sense? Because he's like collapsing and like pushing down to eat. But when he did that, his big heart would push against his lung even more. So we started doing things like raising the elevation of where his food bowl is, so he wouldn't have that pain or like that obstruction when he would try to eat. At least then he could still breathe, because he was taking so many breaks around April when he was eating. He was eating, stopping. You know what I mean? And then we realized, like, oh my God, he's literally like unable to breathe when he's eating. So we have to like maybe make it so that he has some more capacity or like not obstruct his lungs. So when we did that, he started eating again, and his last month was so great. He was playing in the sun. He was eating, drinking. We even saw him playing like the last week, you know, before the first signs appeared again. He was playing with the youngest cat. He was chasing him, you know? And it's weird that they say this, but it must be true then. Like, I think Serafia told me, when they're almost at the point of losing their lives, they will show signs of being like young and juvenile again and like playing and stuff like that, even if they're older. And that's truly what happened. We saw him in like his best mood, you know? Even though we hoped he'd stay with us for another summertime, and then, you know, we realized this as the months progressed that we're gonna have to say goodbye, but nothing prepared us for this, man. Because we immediately, as we saw the signs of him getting lethargic and lying down and having the breathing, like the labored breathing, we immediately went to the vet and he got the syringes. But his condition didn't change this time, guys. He was looking at us in agony, and we went to the point of like getting an oxygen machine. Like, we went and got one of those oxygen concentrator machines that they have. Thank you, Tarlark. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. It's been tough, bro. It's like we cried so much. I don't think my tear ducts worked this much over time. Even when my dad died, I didn't cry this much, dude. Because he meant so much to me. He saw my prime years, you know what I mean? I'm like over 30 now, but he like saw everything from like, you know, that the 20s. He saw all of it, like me turning 20, before me turning 20, and then the entire my weight loss journey. He saw it all, and throughout it all he was always by my side, you know what I mean? And he's just been my best friend, dude. And losing him just broke me, man. I don't know how to like explain it other than there's a piece of my heart that weighs a lot heavier now, you know? Um, he was such a good boy, dude. He was like, the thing is, we went to get that oxygen machine, and just having that oxygen machine, you know, having that oxygen machine allowed him to still keep his senses, I think. Because without it, he would have breathed in air, but not all of it, or not a maximum of it would have contained oxygen, you know? By the fact that we were able to lay like a little funnel next to him that was giving him nearly 50% oxygen, if I'm not mistaken, he was able to keep his senses. Dude, he even in his condition, absolutely not being able to breathe, labored breathing, having taken pills and medication over the last 6 months, so many medication, dude. One medication for his heart rate, one medication for his blood pressure, another medication to keep fluids out of his lungs. This has been like the last 2 months. Am I forgetting something, Srafi? Also, his kidneys. He was taking some kind of paste to like prevent his kidneys from having kidney stones. And then he's also eating like freaking food that is hypoallergenic, you know? Yeah. So you have to understand, he went through so much. Like he went through so much. It's crazy. And still he's at the point of not being able to breathe, dude. He's such a good boy that he actually went and got up and walks to the litter box, dude, trembling. He walks to the litter box and takes a pee, but like right after he just collapses, you know. It was so hard seeing that, man. I don't wish this on anybody, really. It was tough. It was really, really tough seeing that, and I can't imagine what kind of strength it must have taken for him to pull it off like that, to like not show us that he's in pain. But man, when he stared at you, when you looked into his eyes, you saw it, dude. His mouth open, like breathing, gasping for air. We just, even with the oxygen machine, we just said like we can't let this go on. Next time, it's even gonna be worse. Even if he pulls through, dude, we're at day 3. Normally he pulls through like within fucking 48 hours. We're in day 3. And he's not showing any signs of getting better. And like, I haven't been able to hold him like for 2 months decently. I've always been scared to like picking him up because I know what is going on inside of him. And like, if I would hold him wrong, he would maybe have an episode again because I'm like freaking obstructing his heart or obstructing his lungs, you know? It's been so hard, dude. He was my best friend, man. And I miss him. I miss him deeply. But yeah, we're gonna go see him on Tuesday before his cremation, and we're gonna make sure we give him a nice spot in our home, you know. And like, man, I haven't seen this type of care given to pets when it comes to, you know, their funeral, pretty much, right? Because it's a funeral for a family member. That's what it comes down to. And these people that we're going to, they understand. They understand, you know. But yeah, it's gonna take some time to process, you guys. I bet you understand that. If you've ever had a lifelong friend and you had to say goodbye, even if, I know, right? Oh, dude, he's the bestest boy in cat heaven right now, dude. I bet they were awaiting him. They were like, man, you held on so long, bro. Look at that. 14, bro. 14 years for a dog is special, man. That is crazy. But he is the bestest boy in cat heaven right now, man. they say these diseases actually start manifesting from 5 to 6 years old in cats, and some cat breeds are more susceptible to it. But Musti was kind of like a crossbreed between, I believe, I'm not sure, okay? I believe he was a crossbreed between a European Shorthair and a Maine Coon, because his tail was so large and fluffy. Like a Maine Coon, have you ever seen a Maine Coon tail, dude? That's just like wool, dude. Um but yeah, he had such a good character too. He would know that like you needed some attention, and he'd just come lie down on your lap. He'd just climb on top of you. You just like, if you're lying down and you're like, I don't know, bored out of your mind, he'd like come sit on your chest. That's the kind of cat he was. He was awesome. I love him. But yeah, we didn't get to see much of him on streams because yeah, he wasn't as agile anymore, you guys. You know? We miss him. Yes. Zuko had taken up a position in one of the baskets looking at the door. Because last Saturday, when I was live for the last time, he was guarding the entrance and Musti was coming in and out. Oh. And I'm glad I gave him the attention, but here's the thing. Last Sunday when you were live, Serafia, he came into the stream room here a couple of times and I gave him the attention. I'm glad I gave him the attention. Like when he came by, I looked at him, I petted him, and as soon as I petted him, like he ran away. Like maybe he knew that he wanted some alone time with us, but I couldn't like hold him, you know. I didn't want to risk picking him up, even though he loves that. I know he loves that. I just don't want to risk picking him up because that might like change the fluid dynamics in his heart or something. I made it hard on me because I realized what was going on, Seraphim. So when he was here, I like didn't like, when he's normally running around my cables, I'm like, no, don't run around my cables. But this time I just let him, you know, if he wanted to be around me, I let him. And it's like he knew, because Monday he was just in the cave all day. And then Monday evening, we just noticed that he was again starting to labor breathe. I'll tell you one thing, right? If you have a cat, do this test from time to time, please. I just read about it now. I didn't know before, but we might have like caught on to Musti's illness, the HCM cat illness, which is the heart disease. Cardiomyopathy or something it's called. It's a long, complicated word, but if your cat is sleeping without disturbing them, count the amount of times that the chest goes up and down. Up and down means one breath. Count it in like 15 seconds. Let's say it's 6, right? 6 counts. That's 6 breaths in 15 seconds. That means it's like 24 breaths in 1 minute if you multiply it by 4. If it's under 30, your cat's good. But if your cat is at 30 breaths, no. Hellborn. It's Musti. Our eldest cat is gone, bro. Our eldest cat, who this emote is based on, he's gone. But he's right here, dude. He's in our hearts, man. I really believe that. Thanks, man. I was just going over, you know, how it's been the last couple of months knowing his disease, and we've kind of only gotten to know about it. Like our first vet didn't want to disclose what it could be. He just kind of alluded to it and was like, "Oh yeah, you should go to this other freaking medical facility I know. It will cost you $320, and then you can find out." I was like, "What? That's super far away, one. And two, like, what do you expect? That we can pay that?" So instead of like listening and making an assumption like that or doing some other, basic test, no, it's like go there. Aren't you the fucking veterinarian, dude? Thank you, Talus. Thank you for the hugs, man. But yeah, it happened so fast, dude. The thing is, the last 3 days from Monday to Wednesday are such a blur to me. It's so weird. It's such a blur because we also didn't get any sleep, dude. So Monday evening, he starts showing signs. We go to the vet. He gets his usual syringes. And this time around, it didn't do what it used to do, where he like gets hungry again. He gets up, he starts drinking, and everything is fine. It didn't do its thing this time. And we couldn't keep him in agony like that, dude. He literally didn't get sleep for 3 days. He didn't get any sleep for 3 days because he couldn't breathe. He couldn't lie down properly because his heart is obstructing his lungs. We didn't have a choice. It's he showed so much love in the last 3 months. Even though he was ill, he didn't make it appear, dude. He was always there looking at us. Like, we were discussing this with Serafi as well. Like, whenever we're at the table, he's at the table. He was such a ritualistic cat. He knew what time we had to be in the couch. He knew what time we would have food. He actually is such a good boy that he prepared himself to get his medication. Yes, I'll maybe sit here for a little minute and make sure that Serafi text is also making it on screen. Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing can prepare you for it, Hellborn. It's right. That's right. It's tough, man. That first vet, I lost all of my trust in that first vet. I'm not gonna lie, Serafia. Like, for me now, it feels like she's after the money. But yeah, the first doctor didn't want to give us the meds, but the second doc we went to actually gave us the right meds and allowed him to live a fairly normal life the last quarter of 2025. And then even then, like when we went to him when it was early 2026, he found a way to like keep him going yet again. Yeah. Animals are crazy good at keeping time. It's weird, right? They don't have a clock, but they know, dude. They know what time you gotta wake up. But he was such a good hugger too. Yeah. The way I can tell you what you said about the sponsored food, like the cat food, Hills, Canine, whatever it's called, right? Royal Canine. Instead of selling products, bro, the vet that we're going to now is like going to an actual doctor. You have a waiting room, you have a freaking counsel room, and then you have the medical operations room. You understand? This guy even has like a cat shelter. He spends his money that he makes on a cat shelter and giving homes to cats and dogs, probably too. I'm not sure. Instead of like, I don't know, renovating, making an apartment, renting apartment rooms. Okay. I'm kind of dissing the other veterinarian now, but yeah. Either way, the thing is, that vet's heart is in a good place. And he helped him live another 6 months after it became like super serious. End of 2025, he had that first episode where he was gasping for air, salivating, not being able to move, completely knocked out, like staring in front of him into the abyss, as it were. And I'm glad we found him, Serafi. I'm gonna be honest. I'm glad we found that other vet, and he was still able to live for like 6 nice months. Even though each end of month there was like this episode, but also what's weird is like there's no way that medical progress hasn't been made for cats and pets in the same way for humans. Why do I say this? Because, dude, if it was a human and there was like this episode that came back every month, weirdly enough, when antibiotics and cortisol is given, cortisone and the freaking antibiotics kept him from that situation for a month, and then we gave it to him again after a month because he was in an episode, and he was good for another month. You would start suspecting something is going on. There's like some inflammation causing water buildup. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, that is weird though. It's weird. I don't know. Japan it probably most probably has the best hair. Yeah, now we're definitely a third world country.